Parents often talk about the fears they have about seeing their baby for the first time and also taking them out in public. Did you have any concerns about this?
I did. I was really protective about Cameron, and I knew I would be hurt for him and for me if someone was sort of openly critical about his cleft. But in general, I tried to rehearse scenarios that I thought I would find myself in and how I would respond if someone asked me about his cleft. But in general, people were lovely. They asked questions, obviously, but they did it in a really sensitive way. I do remember one situation, though, where it was quite upsetting. I took Cameron to a children's birthday party when he was still very young, before he'd had his primary lip repair, and a little boy passed a comment. Nobody said anything. It was very upsetting, quite hurtful, and I kind of had to deal with how I felt and trying to explain to this little boy what Cameron's cleft was. And I think that could have been better if the parents had taken the time maybe to explain that Cameron had a gap in his lip, but it was going to be repaired. But in general, going out with Cameron, seeing other people, they didn't focus on his cleft. They asked about it and, you know, when the surgery would happen, but they commented on him, a baby, happy, lovely eyes, rather than focusing on his cleft. Why do you think parents worry about that kind of thing so much?
We live in a culture where appearance is valued very highly, and parents always want the best for their children. They want them to be happy. So they tend to worry that if their baby is born with something that makes them look a bit different from the norm, then perhaps they might be at a disadvantage in life. But actually, research shows that that isn't the case. And it may well be that parents or other adults do ask questions about the baby because they're curious about the fact that the baby does look a bit different. But it is more to do with the fact that it's a novelty, that they're not used to seeing something like that, rather than anything more negative. So if we are prepared with questions to answer their curiosity, then everything should be fine. So what do you think parents can do if someone does stare at their baby?
I think parents will stare, people will stare, but it's often because they won't have seen a baby with a cleft lip that hasn't been repaired, and it is just natural curiosity. Some parents that I've spoke to said that they kind of had a little response prepared, that they would say that, you know, he was due for an operation and was going into surgery, and other parents just chose to ignore it and just sort of walk away. And I think if anyone was openly critical, my advice would be to be very dismissive yourself and just walk away from that person.
And what helped you overcome your worries about people's reactions to Cameron?
I suppose we just made a conscious decision that we were going to enjoy Cameron's babyhood. Friends and family tell you that they're only babies for 5 minutes, and they really are. So things that we planned to do, swimming, baby and toddler groups, that kind of thing, we went out and did. I did find it hard overcoming the fact that Cameron had a cleft, but I'm not sure that I would have reacted any differently if he hadn't had a cleft, because I think having a baby's hard to get your head around as well. And I used family and friends for support constantly. We had really good support from our specialist nurse who came to see us really regularly. And I didn't really want to put our lives on hold between surgeries. I wanted to get out and enjoy that time with him. I think, and knowing as well that I was going back to work in however many months, that it was really precious time that I wanted to spend with him. I don't even notice his scar now. He's 2.5 now. But I wonder how, if people haven't met him before, how they will react. They might notice his scar, and knowing how children can be, and I wonder how he'll react when he's older, how he'll feel if a child passes a comment or perhaps teases him at school about his scar.
It's important to accept that people will ask questions. So it's also the case that all children get teased, and some get bullied about the way they look. It doesn't matter whether or not they've got something which we might call a visible difference or not. So the important thing is to equip him with some strategies for dealing with those questions when they come. And research shows that there is no difference between the distress he might have from being teased about a cleft compared with another child who might get teased about another aspect of their appearance. So it's all very normal. The really important thing is just to give him confidence about how to deal with people's questions and curiosity, and then he can answer the question and just move on.